This is section 6.6, part 2. And in part 2, we're going to be talking about kites. Okay? So as we look at this here, a kite is a quadrilateral with two pairs of consecutive sides congruent and no opposite sides congruent. So here's a picture of a kite. And you'll notice it said two pairs of consecutive sides congruent. So one after the other, but the opposite sides are not congruent from each other. They're not congruent to each other. Okay? A couple of other things that you can look at here. You've got vertex angles and you have non-vertex angles. The non-vertex angles are the angles that connect with the non-consecutive sides. Okay? And then the vertex angles are the angles that connect with the sides that are congruent. Okay? All right, now let's take a look at theorem 622. It says if a quadrilateral is a kite, then its diagonals are perpendicular. And you'll notice here that we've added in some diagonals, B to D and A to C, and those diagonals are perpendicular. Now, a couple of other things that they create 90-degree angles, in other words, but another couple other things that you can add to this below this is that the diagonals of the vertex angles, they bisect the vertex angles. Okay? So in other words, in this case, AC bisects angle A and angle C. Okay? So it bisects it. So in other words, if you wanted to up here on this picture, you can mark those congruent to each other and those congruent to each other. Okay? So the diagonal that bisects, or the diagonal that cuts across with the two vertex angles is going to bisect the vertex angles. Okay? The other thing is, again, this is old stuff, but the sum of the interior angles, it's a four-sided shape, is still going to be 360 degrees. That's going to come in handy when they ask you to start finding angle measures. Okay? So those are some things about kites that we look at and we're going to use. Okay, so let's take a look here at a couple of these examples. It says quadrilateral DEFG is a kite. What are the measures of angle 1, angle 2, and angle 3? Well, the easiest one to figure out off of the get-go as we look at these is angle 1, simply because the diagonals are perpendicular. So angle 1 happens to be 90 degrees. That's a 90-degree angle. Well, you know that if angle 1 is 90 and angle 2 is 52, if I add 90 and 52, that gives me 142. So if I take 180 minus 142, angle 2 is going to be 38 degrees. Okay? Now, as you look at this here, as we try to figure out angle 3, remember what I said? The diagonal that bisects the vertex angles, these are the vertex angles here. Okay? Those are the vertex angles, because these are the sides that are equal to each other, like so. So in this case, angle 3 is going to be 52 because it bisects that angle, and these two angles right here are congruent to each other. Okay? Quadrilateral KLMN is a kite. What are the measure of angle 1, angle 2, and angle 3? Again, same kind of concept as the previous one. Easiest one to figure out is angle 1, because angle 1 is going to be 90 degrees because the diagonals bisect each other. We know that if angle 3, here, we know this angle right here is bisected. So angle 3 has to be 36 degrees because those angles are the same. And this guy right here is also going to be 90. So if it's 36 and 90, that's 126. If I take 180 minus 126, that's going to give me angle 2 because there's a triangle there, which in this case, angle 2 is going to be 54 degrees. Okay. All right, so what you're going to be doing here is you're going to be finding a lot of angle measures. They may throw in some sides, but mostly with kites, it's going to be angle measures that you're going to have to calculate. Okay. All right, so this concludes section 6, part 2, talking about kites. Don't forget to complete your WSQ.